Leafs Talk, JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. What felt like it was going to be a night of celebration during many moments. Started out red hot. Turns out to be, I'll say it's a nightmare for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sure, they get a point, but they blow multi-goal leads multiple times throughout the hockey game. Mitch Marner gets a couple of points, and the Toronto Maple Leafs lose in overtime to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Where do you want to start?
I would say that the speed in which I turned off the television after that puck entered the net reached playoff levels tonight. There was a playoff feel to this game tonight for obvious reasons. And you know what? It had a playoff-like finish for the Toronto Maple Leafs in extreme heartbreak where, just the other guys end up shooting it in the net more than the Leafs do, and the Leaf fans feel sad. But I'm sick for the people that were in the building tonight who were so fantastic, booing Marner into it. You heard some Go Leafs goes. It was setting up to be a fantastic night in Sin City, and now you got to eat it from Vegas fans all night. Just a tough one. Scotty Lawton shoots it in the net halfway through the second period. That should be enough to get you. That should be enough to get you over the finish line, and they can't hold on. So tough,
real tough. Like, listen, tonight was already sour with the announcement of the LA Dodgers grabbing Kyle Tucker for $60 million a year and basically ushering in what will probably be an MLB lockout next season. But then I really did. I locked into this game and the Leafs are winning, and I went, I really want to enjoy this game. I really want to enjoy this Maple Leafs. They come out just guns a-blazing, Nylander's everywhere. He makes 2 plays. And now you sit at the end of this and you go, Nylander got hurt Kendrys Morales style, celebrating.
Same injury, by the way. Wonky ankle. Like just caught a rut and it tweaked on him and he's gone again. Ankles are funky.
Something happened in the celebration for Nylander. He leaves the hockey game. You think, all right, maybe they'll be able to survive this. Vegas keeps battling back, but you're right. The Lawton goal, that goes in the net, man. And the amount of relief I felt in that moment of just, because I texted you. Listen, I don't normally bite my fingernails during regular season Toronto Maple Leafs hockey games, man. That's not a thing. I was chewing the fingernails tonight in that third period when it was a 1-goal lead. Scott Lawton scores this goal, puts it right in the middle of the net. Beautiful feed right after Vegas makes it again, another 1-goal game. And there was elation. There was, God, they needed this one, man. God, this was a prove it one. And then to just kind of collapse. And by the way, to add to your point quickly, Leaf fans rock, man.
Yeah.
It's just the way they travel, people showing up for this game. Marner getting booed as soon as he touches the puck.
Fantastic.
In his barn. And it bothered him.
Oh yeah, we know enough about that young man that's eating him up. That's eating up a lot of people in his life,
for sure.
Yeah,
and whatever. I was getting this out of the way. I think he looked a little rattled at times in this game. Like, congrats, you got a couple power play points. Yeah. Did you feel Mitch Marner 5-on-5 tonight in a material way?
I'll tell you right now. I mean, he sets up the one that doesn't end up counting. That was by far the most dangerous he looked.
For sure,
he was handling it like a hand grenade. Didn't want to have the puck on his stick for many points of that game because he was getting booed. I thought that, he gets 2 assists, whatever. One of them off an absolute muffin off that bounces into the perfect sweet spot where Dorofeyev just tips it into the net. But yeah, I thought he looked like he didn't want to have the puck on his stick to hear the boos.
I agree.
What I thought he looked like.
I thought that he was passive in this game, even in overtime.
Well, they just have a lot of way better players, bud.
Sure. They got really good guys. There's no doubt. Okay. Like I'm saying that, but if I'm just doing here's the biggest positive tonight, okay? Outside of the fans who showed up. He
didn't score the overtime winner.
Well, yeah, obviously. That would have... I don't think I would have done the show.
Like, I talked about it with Ailish and Justin when I left the studio today. Yeah. Ailes was like, "You gonna bet Marner to score the OT winner 80-1?" And I'm like, I'm probably gonna do that as a happiness hedge. And I didn't do it, and it went to overtime. And my life flashed before my eyes when Hurdle tied it late. I was like, oh my God, how did I not do that? But anyways.
Ailish does bet those ones too. But what I was going to say is, if there's one positive to take out of this game, other than Leaf fans showing up and doing their thing, it's Matthews completely outdogged Marner tonight.
Yep.
Like the conversations that people had about, let the wrong guy go from the beginning of the season, right? Because that was something people were saying, man.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, Matthews' play was horrendous to start the year. So it's not exactly like he didn't do it to himself in some way. But one guy I thought was a dog on the puck all night long and really was forceful with his play. And Marner, to me, was passive. And yeah, there was a moment in overtime where they collected the puck. And yeah, he's a little late into a shift, probably about like 45 seconds to a minute, but nothing crazy. They've got possession of the puck in the offensive zone, and he skated off. And I went, that's who you are. That's who you are, buddy.
I will say it's funny. I thought Matthews had a ton of great shifts and was threatening or whatever. And I just look at the ledger here. He ended up being -3 tonight. So I didn't really realize that, but I thought he deserved a lot better than that in terms of what the, and I guess he would have been on the ice to be fair, all their even strength goals.
Well, if you want to play this game, one of them was the one where Morgan Riley doesn't box out in front of the net, and they did get stuck out there on a shift for way too long. McMahon doesn't come out and help and support. So they bang one of those ones in. Yeah. And then, he gets the dash at the end of the game with the empty net where he's on the ice trying to defend, and they score with 9 seconds left with the extra attacker. I can't remember the third one that he was on the ice for, but yeah, I just didn't think that it was like some kind of an atrocious game for Matthews and his line mates.
No, I agree. But I guess you mentioned there at the end of the game, if we're going to get into more little points about this, so Nyes breaks his stick. That's a huge disadvantage, but we are huge John Tavares guys. We have, praised him, I would say, more than a lot of shows have at times, but he can't be your protect the lead guy. For sure. And he's out there to end the game. And I just can't imagine what Scott Laughton's thinking sitting on the bench as one of the premier penalty killers in the league, one of the premier shorthanded guys in the league, where they're 6-on-5 at the end here. And John Tavares looks gassed. He's got nothing in the tank. I mean, I don't know how many minutes he ended up playing tonight, but like, what did Laughton do to Berube? Like, I mean, he played 13-26 tonight, and Tavares played 18-25. Tavares is, giving them everything that he possibly can at his age. But I know you love him. I know whatever. I don't know when Laughton's last shift was, but 91 can't be a protect the lead guy. I'm sorry. It just it can't be like that.
Consider that the Leafs only had one power play in this game, man.
Yeah.
Like you could cobble together those minutes and say, well, and by the way, like this isn't John Tavares' fault. Like his coach is throwing over the boards. No. I'm just saying that to your point, like in a game where you had more penalty kills than power plays, how is it that John Tavares is playing that many more minutes than Scott Laughton right now, given the way Laughton's playing? And frankly, once you lose Nylander, the way that Tavares has looked lately, and listen, Tavares gets that goal, but come on,
it wasn't a real goal.
It's not a real goal. No, and even he knew it, and he's trying to he's like sheepishly looking at it when he's out there for 3-on-3 in overtime. No, and he tries to make like a little bit of a move towards the net. He just doesn't have it the same way. He doesn't look as forceful 5-on-5. I don't want to again. This game to me is not a John Tavares referendum, but I do think that your point is well made. That when you're protecting a lead, the guy who's been anchoring your penalty kill and who is undoubtedly one of the best defensive forwards on your team, if not the second best defensive forward on your team, should probably be on the ice.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Like I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't want to bog down because that's not the reason they lost the game or whatever.
Sure. Well, but let's go there. Yeah. What do you think was the biggest reason they lost this game? Because this is a bit of a complicated one. I have my issue, but I want to hear yours.
I think that they needed a couple saves in there.
That's one of them.
I think that's a big contributing factor, and Joseph Wall's been really good. But I didn't really particularly like him picking tonight to be the night for him to not look at his best. What do you have?
I didn't like the way the Leafs played every time they went up 2 goals. Like
it's the same stuff every time. They stopped playing hockey.
Yeah, the second period, I was really impressed with the Leafs. They didn't have Nylander, and they gave up a goal, and they immediately responded with excellent play, right?
Yep.
It's just a period where, to me, that was Matthews' best period of the entire hockey game. He was a buzzsaw, and he had other moments in the third too. But I just really felt his presence, and every time his line was stepping on the ice, I was like, God damn, these guys are humming. And then whenever the Leafs would get a goal back and go up 2, it just felt way too passive. And all of a sudden they're on their heels, and the Golden Knights were kind of able to kick their teeth in, and they stopped taking the fight to them. And I just don't know how much of that you're supposed to give credit to. Like, obviously there's some credit that goes to Golden Knights for not giving up on the game, and
they're good.
Yeah, they're good, but you have to know that they care about this game as much as you do. And that when you give up a goal, or when you get a goal, that the most dangerous stretch of the hockey game, like, buddy, that's hockey 101, right? Like, you score a goal, the other team's going to come out and give you their best punch right after it happens. And it just felt like the Leafs would stop playing their game for like little 3-4 minute segments right after they would take that lead. And Vegas had their best opportunities when the Leafs are up 2 goals.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this team, but they really seem to go into a shell. And there's the perfect example of that is, I think it was when it was 5-4. It was before the phantom goal that tied it. I think Matthews won 3 straight defensive zone draws where he cleaned out Eichel 3 times in a row, and they didn't end up with possession. They just grenaded it down the ice 3 separate times. Like, I think there was 5 minutes left in the game, and McCabe just hot potatoes it straight down the ice. Like, they didn't have any sort of thought to make a play, or it feels like they go up 2 and they go back to the bench, and the coaching staff's like, all right, guys, nothing stupid. Let's keep it simple here. Let's get the puck in deep. You're watching it happen. They've changed the way they've played since Christmas. They have the puck way more. There's way less dump and chase. Like, the metrics show it, the eye test shows it, but it's still when they get these leads, and it shows like they've blown a bunch of third period leads this year.
Which is crazy, because
how many is that now? 6, 7? Like, it's like you said, it was a calling card of their team last year, and it's just they go into this shell and they're like, they're just not quite as good defensively as they were last year. And a big part of that, clearly, Marner going away. They've lost some guys back there. Tanev's not there. I understand it, but you got to coach your personnel, and it's killed them multiple times this year. It really has.
So I agree with you that we'll just go through all the goals. You can find even the one where Riley doesn't box out. Like, I texted you, he lost track of the puck. And he's slow getting across. Like, he could have made that save. Yeah. Anyway,
I think he looked a little tired tonight.
He was not sharp. He did not have a great game. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not saying he's at the very top of the blame pie for me. I do think, again, it's the way they responded. But if I'm slotting in the sneaky thing that's going to get forgotten a little bit in this game, and I hate doing it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cowan penalty now.
Like,
real tipping point moment in the game where Easton Cowan takes an absolutely unnecessary bad penalty, and they score 6 seconds into the power play, and it's Mitch Marner who gets a point off of it. Now Dorofeev has his second goal of the game, and Vegas was buzzing after that and totally back into the hockey game. And I thought it really shifted the momentum of what was going on previous to that.
I think that this is just clearly a play where it's a young man going up against a big NHL man, and he doesn't necessarily want to go shoulder to shoulder with him, and he thinks he can pick his pocket quick. But even if you pick his pocket there, what's the play you're going to make? Yeah. Like, that's an obvious play where you bump shoulders with the guy, you kind of try to keep the puck in deep there, and you just kind of go on your way. You lift his stick, you clearly miss, you high stick him. And Berube, who is never really, I wouldn't say he likes to show up his players when there's bad plays like that. Like, he'll scream at them, but he was visibly pissed about that one. When he looked down at the iPad or whatever they're watching on the bench, he had a real reaction from that. So yeah, I hated that. And I think that it's his first year in the NHL, and he's going to have ups and downs. Clearly, he's a kid. You look at his face, he's an incredibly young man. But I think we're in a down period right now, where it just looks like a lot of these games, especially against these big Western Conference fast teams, I just think he looks a little bit out of his depth, and that kind of circled it there a bit. That was a tough penalty to take, and it's a good one to bring up. It's a crucial point in the game, and it got them buzzing. You're right.
Yeah, I just think, like, if I was to point at one hinge moment in the game where I'm like, hey, what's one thing you could take back? That's what I would want back from the entire game, more than any individual play.
Probably Hurdle tying it with 7 seconds left would be my
vote. Yeah, I would. Yeah. I'd like to resubmit my vote. But I'm just saying, in terms of the flow of the game, that one killed me. I will say this though. I had 2 thoughts on it. One is I actually really like that Berube went right back to Cowan, that he threw him back out on the ice, because as you mentioned, he is just a kid, and it's not like you should have a dual standard for your hockey team with guys, right? Like, dudes have to be accountable. That's a piece of being a pro. But he's 20 years old and he's playing in a huge high stakes Vegas game. He's feeling horrible about himself after they scored that goal, and he gives him an opportunity to go back out on the ice and let him try to create a play. And I think that you're probably better served coaching that way with a young guy rather than just stapling him to the bench. And if the Leafs lose, he's hanging his head for the entire trip and feeling like he's the guy that cost them a massive game against the Golden Knights. It reminds me of like when a receiver drops a pass and the quarterback decides to throw him the ball the very next play so that he forgets about it.
Yeah.
That Berube kind of went with that coaching strategy, and I liked it. But secondarily, and this is the more negative one, and it kind of builds off of your point about Cowan, he's had a good season. That line had found chemistry, him, Robertson, and Roy. But watching him in a game like tonight where it was high stakes and it was hard not to let the mind wander to the playoffs and be thinking, boy, if they do get into a playoff series, you know, after a full year in the NHL at that size, just those are the kind of things that you risk with having a player like that. Obviously, anybody can make that mistake.
Yeah.
But that one was pretty amateurish, given where it was, time and score, what you're doing, trying to do too much when you're that age. I don't know. It made me think about it.
Yeah, that's fair. It was not like he was dead tired. It was at the start of his shift, at the start of a period. It's not like it was a tired brain decision.
Yeah.
He didn't make an aggressive play and he tried to pull up. So Murph Stone said to us in their chat that Cowan shouldn't have been on the ice in OT after his penalty. So the Leafs
they didn't have Nylander.
OT's killing them this year. What's the record in OT? How many points now? I don't know if the boys can look that up for me quickly, but
you can just see it in the standings.
Yeah. I guess you can look at the standings, but they've cost themselves 10 points in overtime. I'm just looking at it.
That's 9. I think it's either 8 or 9.
Yeah. So they've cost themselves. So like conservatively, you're not going to win all 9 of those that you've lost, but let's say you got 4 of those more or 5 of those more points. Like, this is a real problem, and they are brutal in OT. And like, Riley, who I thought wasn't awful in this game. I thought, he had that goal to start. He had his moments where I thought he actually looked pretty good, but he's always
maybe saves a goal shorthanded before they score on the power play.
And then everyone's going to kill Matthews for this play because he's not even in the screen. But the coach, I mean, how many minutes has he played in this game? There was one shift without him. Like, you can ask a lot of these guys are professional athletes, but at some point, like, he's behind the net when this play starts. You just can't convince yourself to skate as hard as you can when you've been out there for 25 minutes and you had 1 second to take a breather. Like, I get it's a tough visual, but they just have no other options in OT when Willie's out. And the OT points, if we're sitting here on game 82 and we're talking about how the Leafs missed the playoffs, the 6 or 7 points that they've cost themselves in overtime this year could be a huge reason why. They've been brutal all year.
So I'll say this, though, is I'd be curious how many of those losses now they haven't had Nylander. And if you're doing the whole, like, so I had Kipper on my show today, right?
Yeah.
And we were kind of going back and forth a bit because he was doing the whole, the Leafs haven't replaced Marner's skill, right? And I'm like, well, that's kind of the point, is that they're supposed to be spreading it around now.
Yeah.
And why we've liked the team so much over this last stretch of play is that they've looked more like a team. More guys are involved. It doesn't feel like they're just leaning on the horses and the studs. And listen, you got to get to the playoffs. So it's a regular season team versus the playoff team. But yeah, Nylander not being healthy, my first thought was when they went to overtime, well, that's the guy that scores all the overtime goals. That when it comes to the skill replacement, you really need those types of players for overtime. And this is where I will say, Michelli, I thought, had a lot of good moments in tonight's game.
Not in overtime.
overtime, but this is it feels like his MO in OT, man. But he holds onto the puck too long and then he turns the puck over. It's just like, I feel like this has happened the last 3 times they've been in OT where he's had an egregious turnover trying to do too much and it ends up going the other way for a dangerous opportunity or a score. So yeah, he's not quite that level where you're afraid of the shot. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't think I was like excited to see him in overtime. I'm like, hey, do your thing. And
my thought on Michelli in overtime is that he has way too much time and space where he's at his best when he's making a quick decision and using his passing skills and saucing it across to somebody or snapping it down low or doing things quickly when he doesn't have as much time and space. When he's got the time and space, he's the whirling dervish. He's trying to do it. And there was a moment, I don't know if you saw it, but I'm sure you did because my heart stopped, where he almost tried a cross-ice sauce where Mitch Marner read him like a book. Yeah. And I thought he was going to knock it down for a breakaway, but thankfully he turned back the other way. I was like, oh my God.
Marner was just like hanging behind him.
I'm like, I've seen this story before. Yeah. I've seen this story before. Don't do it, Matthias. I'll never forgive you, Matthias. If you do this.
I like how you said, I don't know if you saw this, as though when Marner was on the ice during overtime, I wasn't locked into him. Like, you know, when they do that player icon thing where they put the number and the name of the guy, that's all every Leaf fan was doing, man. Like, what are you talking about? All right. So yeah, that's just it for me. Is just, listen, man, they have to be able to protect leads better. They have to find ways to still, like, they're still working out kinks when it comes to management of when they go up in games. They got a bad penalty from a rookie. They did not play, their defensemen were just not amazing tonight. Like, you know, you and I were texting about McCabe. I think Stetcher was working his bag off, but like, you did notice a couple of plays with Stetcher tonight where, and he was good, but just where size matters, especially against a team like Vegas, where they're coming in and crunching him over and over again. And he's having to make, how many desperation plays did Stetch make tonight? But that were good.
No, he plays with his hair on fire. Yeah. And he's not afraid. He got, I don't know, was it Colasar that got him on that forecheck where Johnson on the broadcast is like, oh, he takes a hit to make a play. Like, boy, did he ever take a hit to make the play. Like,
but he took a few tonight, man.
Oh yeah. They were really leaning
sore on the plane.
Oh yeah. They were leaning on him, but I mean, he just does it. He ends up, I'm just looking at his stat line. I think he had a helper tonight.
Yeah.
Ends up with an assist. Yeah. He's even on the plus minus ledger. You know, 2 hits, 3 block shots, 21-42. That's the.
I thought he was their best defenseman.
Yeah, he was good. He was good.
By the way, Myers just missed out on being the whipping boy tonight in a big time way with that offside. Okay.
Benning's not worse. Stop this.
We've done this a million times.
But stop.
I know, but it is.
What are you watching? Stop it.
Yeah.
Like, I know Benoit gets hurt, I guess, pregame. Like, that they kind of mentioned that. I didn't really notice that.
At first it seemed like it was just a healthy scratch, and I was pretty surprised by it. And then it turns out it was an injury.
I was too busy watching Golden Collectibles up until puck drop, so I missed the news of that. But you watch that show?
No.
Oh, it's electric, dude. I highly recommend.
You know what I was watching? Mock Bomb and other fake Twitter accounts.
Why does anyone believe any of those people?
I don't believe any. I get sucked in, man.
You sent it to me today. I know. I was disgusted.
I sent you one. I was grasping at straws, buddy. I needed it so funny too. I blew up my show tomorrow. I canceled a couple of big guests because I was like,
"What are you just gonna do? Sour talk tomorrow?"
Yeah, I'm doing sour talk. 2 hours of sour talk. I got a lot. That's just what
the people want to hear.
I got a lot of takes on Tucker, and I'm going to be doing. What am I going to talk about? How Marner won? Like, I'm glad I.
That's true. Like, fair enough. Yeah. I will say.
I got a lot of NFL. I'm going to do my own NFL stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I canceled a good football guest today. I was supposed to have Ryan Whitney tomorrow. I was like, oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, just it's Whitney's coming on next week.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's just tomorrow. I thought was going to be like, hey, Kyle Tucker's making his decision one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I really got sucked into the whole idea that the Jays are the only team offering the long term. And Heyman had that one tweet where he was like, all his buddies are thinking he's I was like, oh, the guy just, I'm a sap.
No one knows anything. I will say,
goddamn.
I've, you know me, I dove head first into Ohtani. I dove head first into Soto. I didn't even touch the pool this time.
I know you did.
I was just like, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. I didn't even get close to it. He's a coward, dude.
Yeah.
Coward.
I'm
way to go, KD. To the team that has never needed you less. Take the money and run, brother. I get it. It's $60 million. Like, have fun with $60 million Jason Bay, LA. Yeah. Like that could be the worst contract in professional sports history.
I hope so.
I actually think it could be. He's new Rendon.
Yeah, listen, hey, can I ask you a quick question? Who would you rather win next year? Dodgers or Golden Knights?
Oh my God, Dodgers. Are you crazy? Like, not even close, Dodgers. Like the cup?
Yeah.
Oh my, you would take Dodgers?
I'm thinking about it.
You're a sick puppy. I
hate the Dodgers more than
You're a sick puppy.
Listen,
Marner would raise that cup, and I would look at you and be like, "You sick.
You did
puppy.
this.
It's you."
Yeah, especially the Dodgers lost. I was like, well, I'm happy that I don't want Golden Knights to win, but it's shockingly close. Like, I really, truly, I don't know. Like, yeah, man, I hate Oklahoma City, obviously, but the Dodgers, in terms of like, they didn't do anything to me, and like Marner,
they did.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that
they delivered us the most heartbreaking moment of all our lives.
Yes, but I just mean, like, they didn't have a guy or a thing that I felt like,
it's fair.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different level of. I hate their guts so badly, and now I've seen their fans, and I was at those gains. And anyway, whatever. I'll do more of this tomorrow.
Luke says insane take by JD here. Couldn't agree more with.
Listen, it is an insane take, man. I'm in an emotional state, man. I just watched Chris Carter beat the Leafs.
Last thing I'll say.
10 minutes left, and Kyle Tucker side with the Dodgers out of left field. Like,
last thing I'll say. Okay, I went to a Vegas Golden Knights game in probably 2022, 2023.
Yeah, you bought a hat. You're a big Golden Knights fan.
I love the Golden Knights. I was all in. It was such an electrifying experience.
I hate them.
And now the sight of it makes me sick. The corniest crap. They're fans that have never experienced any real like adversity on the ice. Like, they've just always been good. They've always had the best stars. Like, and they just
I told you they remind me of Oklahoma City Thunder fans, and not even in the sense of
they're better. I mean, the OKC fans are way better.
No, but I'm just saying that. But screw OKC fans, because their first year they did the same thing where they were red hot immediately.
No, they sucked for a year there. They were awful for a year.
They went to a finals the second year of the franchise. No, but year one they drafted. They brought in Russell Westbrook. They brought in Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but they won 15 games.
No. It was more than that. It was more than that.
Anyways.
Yeah, but either way, I'm just saying, like, they didn't really know any adversity. Year two with the organization, they went to the finals and were facing LeBron, and all of a sudden the commentators were like, these are the best fans in sports. They're so loud for their team. And Vegas reminds me of the same thing, where it was like, you just got handed immediate success, and so all you know is happiness. And so
Vegas just got that draft rigged for them. Poor Seattle. Yeah. Everyone learned the tricks, and they're like, the Squids didn't have one star ever. It's like they're just the worst team.
All I see is Matty Benier's horrible charts.
But like, I'll never forget Uber driver there when I was with, and this guy's like, I'm a big, because he had a Knights hat on, and I was of course talking to him. A tourist talk to the Uber move, classic. Because I was like, I'm from Toronto. And he's like, we finally got our cup, but we had to. I was like, you shut your mouth.
Finally got it.
I'm like, you sick. My dad was 10, bro.
Honestly, that's a moment where I would have, like, did you see the Kiefer Sutherland?
Yes.
Pull this car over, or I'll kill you. As he said that.
I saw someone tweet about that. You could take the guy out of New Brunswick, but you can't take the New Brunswick out of the guy.
It's just pull this car over right now, or I'll kill you. Would have been the words. Anyway, last little rapid fire thing for me is just other hinge moment is Aiden Hill looks shaky, crappy.
Holy crap!
But God, did he make a game-altering save in the save of the year? That scorpion save, the kick with his opposite leg to keep a puck out. Bobby McMahon got to be sick.
Dude, this was unreal passing.
Yeah, it was. Tic-tac-toe. They're all over him. This is when the Leafs were just like dominating the game. And God.
That goes in, they quit.
Yes.
It's a totally different game. And I know they get to 4 eventually anyway, but that is an insane save.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a guy that hasn't played hockey in 4 months. It's like, oh God, I got to do something. It just kind of threw his whole body across there.
It's 4-1 and the Leafs are still buzzing and Hill probably gets hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just again,
the game. Good save.
It did. It really did change the game tonight. Good save by him, but really wish he didn't make it.
So next Friday is going to be interesting. Those are going to be some loud boos, brother.
You know, so you know me, I keep the DMs open. And I solicit people, like reach out anytime at JD Bunkis. And I had a bunch of people, like I was talking about what the vibe was going to be. All the people that were texting me that were going to Vegas were saying that they were going to boo and that they were pumped to boo.
Good.
But then I got a few people who were like, I'm going to stand and cheer.
No.
I'm going to stand and cheer because I feel like he always gave an honest effort. Like a lot of those, like a lot of like, hey, do you think it was, he always gave an honest effort. And then I got somewhere I'm like, you know, it wasn't his fault. And, you know, they didn't really appreciate him. And I went, there just really is a weird complex with like the Marner defenders who look at things through just like a very super strange lens. And now, like,
it's like arguing with a wall.
Yeah, it's like people when they're hardcore into a political belief.
Yes.
And you try to present the other side and go, hey, but what about this evidence? And they just immediately have their like weird political talking points where they can dance around it. It's just you can't really get through to those people. But yeah, I don't understand how you couldn't see. Like, man, you and I were in the room with Tree Living talking about the Leafs' pursuit of him through free agency. Like, he was checked out by 4 Nations. He was gone. But so people who are like doing the honest effort thing, it's like Steve Simmons just reported that his family was looking for houses in Vegas while the Leafs were still playing. Like,
crazy.
The idea that this guy was giving the Leafs an honest effort, or that this wasn't shady business that was going on down the stretch, like, get out of here with that.
He had 1 foot out the door in the Leafs' best chance to win the Stanley Cup.
100%.
He had 1 foot out the door, and I never understand how people don't see it any other way.
And listen, I'll this is my kind of closing thought on Marner. Marner, in a way, should be thanked for being the biggest person in the room and deciding to leave when Tree Living was like, but we'll give you $13 million. Like, please stay. Because every GM and front office guy from like since Lou left was so terrified of the idea of the Leafs losing a talented player and how they could ever replace him. They were like, this is the safest thing to do. This is going to be the thing that doesn't get me criticized. And Marner said, you know what, I'm packing my stuff and I'm out of here. This isn't working. So good for him for that. But like, yeah, the idea just that this is what you got was an Ontario kid who got to play for the Maple Leafs and break records for the Maple Leafs, who was not 10 toes down, want to play with the Maple Leafs, who threatened to go play in Europe during his RFA year, who wanted every single dollar, who did not produce big moments in the postseason.
But the B bonuses, bud. He didn't get the B bonuses.
Yeah, like, and that this was a thing and that they were pissed off about the not getting 8 years. Like, man.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
I just got nothing for the pro Marner crowd other than straight up contempt.
Please boo.
Yeah, if I was with someone they didn't boo, I don't think I'd ever want to watch games with them again.
No, you got to boo. You have to boo. If you're listening to this, must boo. And kudos to the crowd tonight in Vegas who booed. And have fun at the roulette table tonight, boys and girls. Enjoy yourself.
God, that's the worst though, is when you're on the road, you watch your team lose.
Yeah,
you got to go back to the hotel and take your gear off. It's like you go back to the hotel because you know you're just gonna.
You're in Vegas too. If you got a hot dinner reso or something, you can't go on your Leafs tarp anyway.
Vegas is safer, but I'm just like I'm thinking more of all my nights.
Montreal.
Oh, that was where I had to do that. The change of shame.
Even if they won, you had to do that.
Yeah. No, I left it on a couple times they won. I went to 2 wins. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Subscribe to the podcast, leave 5 stars, reach out anytime on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sam McKee. Yeah, I'm back tomorrow. 2 hours of vent talk essentially, and then some NFL fix because I'm not doing any more Marner until Friday.
If you're listening to this and you're a fan of Real Kipper and Born, I always forget to tease it on our show, but call the Leafs line tomorrow and let us know how you felt about that game. 416-413-4141. So call us on the Leafs line. I forgot to tease it on my show.
There'll be some good
listen, the Leafs line's an electric factory. We got this guy Daniel who calls in, and he's just like the most in the dumps ever. And it's just he's dump. He's like he's Dumpy Daniel. He's just always in the dumps, and I love
Kipper,
him. So.
You gotta listen to Real Kipper and Born tomorrow, because Kipper's
God.
gonna be so pumped up. Like he's like, this is gonna be the happiest day.
No, it doesn't matter.
1-0.
Right? No, that's the thing though, buddy. I can always be like, well, you didn't think it mattered, so what's the point?
Yeah.
That's all what I'm saying tomorrow. And that didn't matter. It's just another game.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's all I'm saying. No comment.
Great. Can't wait to just not fall asleep
just
right
here
now.
So I don't get fined.
Yeah. Can't wait to go lay in bed and stare at the ceiling for an hour and a half and pretend like today didn't happen. All right.
Just sign Bo, Jace. That's it. Just sign Bo.
Yeah. I'll be discussing that tomorrow with BNS. All right.
Bye-bye.
See you then.